In this video I'm going to talk about something that is going to save you a lot of pain, worry, anxiety and frustration as you're going through your spiritual awakening, if you understand what it is that I'm talking about. Hello from Sweden and welcome to Everyday Mystic, a gentle guide to your liberation. My name is David and I hope that you're feeling well and that you're having a good day. So what I'm going to talk about today is essentially a small distinction, or not at all a small distinction actually. It is about approaching reality with your mind, or approaching reality from a place of infinite consciousness. It goes by different names. You can call it your higher self, you could call it the Holy Spirit, you can call it whatever you want. But there is a very real source that you can connect to, that is infinite, that is eternal, and that is not bound by the temporal five sense reality that we usually are identified with before we start waking up. And the thing is that your mind is only capable of focusing on the five sense reality. The mind tries to force things, tries to make things happen by using force out into the external reality. Now some people misinterpret this perspective as, then I'm just going to sit on the sofa and manifest. No, that is not at all what I'm talking about. This is also the ego playing tricks on you. But the thing is that you are going through a spiritual awakening if you gravitate towards this kind of content. Maybe you are at a different stage on your journey where you are still thinking maybe this is, maybe this isn't, but this is happening. And the end goal is that you realize yourself as part of God's infinite consciousness and shed all of the ego illusions that tell you who you are and therefore create a false identity for you. And part of this process is to observe yourself, to see when you are acting out of alignment with who you truly are, when you are trying to live up to some made up role for yourself. And part of it is, as I said, to transcend this, focusing on the five sense reality. There are hardships in this journey. You have maybe found this out. As a matter of fact, if you are where I am right now, you've probably felt it a lot lately. I've been totally worn out from my job. I've had pains everywhere. And I felt like I just don't want to do this anymore many times now. It was a long time ago since I felt this. But lately the energies have been so heavy. But I've also processed a lot. I have felt how things have come up to the surface to be released, and this is not always fun. But the thing is that the mind tries to create a lot of stories around this. The mind wants to know why you are feeling this way. The reason in essence, even though there might be circumstances outside of yourself as well that are pointing to this. But the reason is in essence is that there are a lot of things that are coming up to the surface. A lot of blocked emotional energies inside of your body. A lot of misaligned thoughts. A lot of misaligned behaviors that needs to come up to the surface. And the thing is that it is so easy to get caught up in this hopelessness, as I said. Right now, right here where I'm sitting right now talking to you in this camera, I feel really great. But it was just like a week ago where I just sat in my car on my way to work and I was just like, I can't take this anymore, just get me out of here. Because I was feeling so tired and worn out. And now suddenly I'm back. I have a lot of energy, my body feels fine, and everything seems fine. And this is another thing. It's a lot about the mindset that you are in, and this will be more and more evident the more you go through this journey. If you keep on feeding all of this negativity with your thoughts, then you are also going to bring yourself further and further down. This is not some positive thinking bullcrap scheme at all. I don't believe at all that you can just think yourself to a better place. I don't think that it works this way. But I know that you can bring yourself down with a lot of negative thoughts if you allow yourself to believe in them. And these negative thoughts usually come from, and here is the kicker, they come from our identification with the five sense reality. Because here is the funny thing that I started to notice in all of this. And it was sort of an epiphany. I saw that suddenly, even though I know that this journey is real, the mind will always try to pull us down into the five sense reality. Look at the bills, look at the debts. How are we going to make this? Listen, in the end, it doesn't really matter if you make it or not. This little existence that you have right now, even though you shouldn't throw it away because you are taking part in something very special. But after you're out of this planet, you're just off somewhere else. I can't say exactly where you're going. I know that there is no God that will sit and punish you. God will always love you unconditionally, and in essence you are part of God. That much I know. But what kinds of consequences there will be to teach us certain lessons, I don't know about that. We'll see when we die, won't we? But life is happening right here and right now, but you don't have to worry so much about what is going on. Because, for me at least, and this was what I noticed, I could get one confirmation after the other. And I had some major ones, you could say. I don't know, it's probably several hundreds by now. But in spite of that, my thoughts keep catching me all the time, because the thoughts are bound to matter, they are bound to time, they are bound to what can be perceived with the five senses. And this is not going to work anymore. You cannot continue to obsess about what is happening in the physical reality. There are still some shifts that I have left that I have to make. I'm not sitting here pretending that I'm enlightened. I'm not sitting here to pretend that I know all the answers. But I am starting to figure out a few things about how this existence works. And you can start to more get into contact with the energies behind what you are doing, instead of being so focused on what you're actually doing and what you want to accomplish with it. When you are, for example, going into this negative, whiny mode, you will actually start to discern that there is an energy here. There is an energy behind what you are saying and what you are doing. So, therefore, when you go into this mode, you cannot perceive the higher perspective. The higher perspective is everything is happening right now. Everything is seen from an eternity perspective. From the highest perspective, you are part of God. And God will always hold you and love you in the end, no matter what you do and no matter what is happening. And this is not an easy process. It's not at all strange if you get all caught up in your ego sometimes. It's not at all strange if you start acting egoistically. I'm talking from my own experience, and I'm talking about things that I've been judging myself very harshly for in the past. But it's not easy. when your outer life starts to crumble. It's very near to you to just start focusing, oh, I'm in this pain, everything is terrible, and I have to do anything I can just to get by and survive, and I just don't have the energy to be this morally upstanding person that I really truly want to be. There is nothing strange about it. But if you can learn to see this, if you can learn to observe yourself, and this is another important insight, that you need to learn to observe what is going on the inside of you and what behaviors we are engaging in. Because usually we are not at all as aware of this as we think that we are. We think that we are self-aware. But, at least for me, when I started to truly look at myself, I found a completely different person from the person I thought that I was. I found all of these little nasty negative behaviors, egoism, manipulativeness, a lot of these things. The want to get things just for nothing. The want to get ahead of everyone else, comparison with other people, all of these things. And it's okay when you find them. It doesn't make you a bad person. It makes you a human in what in religious terms, in Christian terms, is called living in a fallen world, even though I don't buy into the literal narrative of the Bible. But the symbolical narrative, absolutely. If you start scratching the surface of what the Bible says, then there is a whole different story, but we are not going to get into this right now. The point is that you've been programmed to focus on the physical reality, and what you are waking up to is that life, the world, is so much more than this physical experience. You are programmed to focus on an extremely limited bandwidth compared to all of the things that are available to you in your experience. Remember, at the absolute highest level, you are one with God. This means that you are one with infinity. You are one with eternal, limitless love. All of this. So you can also see in all of these labels that you approach reality from. When you deem this as good, this as bad, this shouldn't happen, this must happen in order for me to be happy, and so on. If you look at it from the perspective of actually being part of infinite consciousness, of knowing that you are going to live forever, do these things truly matter then? And the thing is that the more we can approach reality from this way of being, the more things also seem to fall into place for us. This letting go of worry, not because we put on some rose-colored glasses, but because we take on a higher, more true perspective, is the beginning of the physical reality to actually start shifting as well. Suddenly that unforeseen bill that dropped in your mailbox doesn't mean so much anymore. Suddenly the debts, issues that you may have with some friends or family members, you are not so caught up in the importance of these things anymore. And when you don't attach so much importance to things, things start to happen both on the inside and with how you approach things. Because that is another thing, now bringing us back a little to this idea of just sitting on the sofa and manifesting. No. When you start to act from your true perspective, infinite consciousness, live forever, and so on, it will also be so much easier to discern what is actually the best course of action to take in any given moment. You will start to tap into your intuition more, your divine guidance. You will get these little nudges that, oh, you should maybe go in this direction, or if you've lost something, maybe you should look here, and lo and behold, there it is. And so on. All the way from the smallest little details to your big life plan will start to shift and change once you are starting to live from this higher perspective. But the ego, the mind, is always coming at this from survival mode. This is important to understand. The ego is geared towards survival. This means fight, flight, freeze. This means maintaining equilibrium. In other words, the ego is not geared towards growing. The ego is geared towards maintaining. But we are part of a growth process on this planet. This is what is happening. I don't think anyone understands, including myself, how huge this shift that we are going through really is. I am 100% convinced, even though I don't have any times or dates for how long this will take, but I am 100% convinced that we will not recognize this planet when this whole process is over. And it starts on the inside with each and every one of us that are waking up. And there will be more and more people waking up as we go along. This is also something to keep in mind. You are never alone in this journey, even though this journey might seem lonely at certain times. But there are more people waking up every day. This is happening, this is happening, this is happening. So you can count on that. Suddenly, if you feel that you're alone in this right now, you will find people that show up from nowhere in your life eventually. And whatever will happen, wherever you are when things are really getting dark on the outside, because I think that this is a big chance. I don't know how much choice we have in this, but there will also be awakened people that, as long as you are an authentic person that truly wants to spread love into the world and truly want to work on your ego and all of these little shenanigans that the ego is pushing out into your interactions with other people. If you come from this place to truly look at yourself rather than trying to push your will on the world and other people, there will always be people that are willing to welcome you with open arms, to cooperate with you, to help you if they can, and so on. We will not be alone in this journey. You will not be alone in this journey. And it starts right here, right now. Start living from this higher perspective. It's not easy. You will get caught up in your thoughts all of the time. They will start to pulling you in this and that direction and make this or that thing very important, but they are not important. The financial system is not real. The labor market is not real. In some sense, this world is an illusion. Keep this perspective in the back of your mind. You don't have to take all of these things that are happening in the 3D reality so seriously. They may seem very serious, and if you can alleviate suffering, go ahead and do it, because no matter if suffering is real or not in an absolute sense, in a relative sense, it most definitely is. You know that it is. Just bang your thumb with a hammer and you will see that suffering is real. Get dumped by someone you love and you will see that suffering is real. Lose a friend or a loved one or even a pet and you will see that suffering is real. In a relative sense. In an absolute sense, though, you are okay. And this will take some of the edge off of even the big things. There is nothing that you really have to do or be. But there seems to be also choices that are more or less beneficial, of course. So, we all wake up in this journey in different circumstances. I started waking up about 20 years ago. But I had literally 0 people around me that could pick me up and tell me what was going on. So I went back to sleep quite soon afterwards. So it took me many years, and it was actually not until I met my wife about 6 years ago that I actually started to truly wake up. When I met my wife, we had a lot of really crazy synchronistic experiences. I moved out to the countryside, for example, and I just happened to move in next to her, and we had this instant connection. And from there, it just continued. And this is where I'm going to get a little personal here, but the thing is that we also tend to forget all of these experiences that we have when reality becomes too real. We suddenly forget all of this magic that is going on in this process, and we just look at the grayness and mundaneness of everyday life. We just see life from the perspective of all of our problems. And so suddenly, this higher reality is not real to us anymore. And I honestly think that where we are eventually heading is that the grayness and the mundaneness of this 3D reality will be just like a fleeting memory, and it will just be like a bad dream eventually, and we will start seeing living life from this higher 5D perspective instead. This is something I truly believe. And I've seen this in a miniature version with me and my wife. We had our little love bubble in the beginning. Then the problems came into our lives. And the magic was lost for a long time, and now we are starting to regain that magic again. And that is amazing, because now we have this long, arduous journey behind us, where we've had so many struggles. We are still struggling with things, but we don't get caught up in them anymore. And there are so many things that are starting to fall into place for us. And we've started to rekindle something that both of us, I think, at some point thought we had lost completely. But now it's back. And it's amazing. And what I want to say with this is that it's the same with your awakening. There will be struggles. There will be all of these issues on the outside that will try to pull you down into matter. But you always have a choice in this. You can choose right here and right now to just wake up and say, wait a minute. None of these things truly matter. None of it. All that really matters is that I am loved by God. I'm part of God. I'm going to live forever. And in one way or another, I'm going to be with all of the people I love forever. This is the truth. I know that there are a lot of people that want to say that, oh no, this is not at all so, reality is much harsher than this, and so on. This is also part of your identity. You have built an identity about being this oh so serious spiritual person that is not engaged in all of this woo-woo that those people over there are engaged in. I, on the other hand, am seeing the harsh, naked truth about reality. And those people over there, those are not serious. No, this is not how this works. This world is full of a lot of suffering. But everything is relative. In the absolute sense, God is in control of everything. And in some weird paradoxical way, our choices, but this is the case, in a relative sense, our choices might matter. And we don't really seem to have any choice whether to act in a way that seems like our choices matter. And why would we? Why wouldn't we want to have the experience of meaningfulness? Why wouldn't we want to contribute with something positive? Not because we get punished if we don't. Not because someone is standing with a gun to our heads and is telling us that you have to do this, you have to be a morally upstanding citizen and so on. No. Because maybe, I think at least for me, even though, as I said, I fail all the time, I'm not Mr. Perfect at all. I do a lot of things that I probably shouldn't do, and I fail all over and over again. I let my emotions get the best of me and all of that. But in the end, I know that I have a good will. I want to do something good in the world. I want to do something good with my life. And I don't think you have to make it more complicated than that. In an absolute sense, it probably doesn't matter. But as I usually say, what else are you going to do with your life? Just engaging in a lot of meaningless hedonistic pursuits. Eat junk food and watch naked people on the internet. Why? Wouldn't it be nicer if your life had meaning? If you started to understand that there is a creator, whoever this creator is. Maybe you haven't come to this inner knowing that you are at the absolute deepest level one with God. And this is not to say that the ego is one with God. The ego is an illusion that has to go away if you want to truly realize its oneness. But if you start to at least suspect that there is a creator, even if you don't have the knowing, maybe life will be more meaningful if you dedicate at least a significant portion of your life to connecting with this creator. Not because you have to, but because in comparison to all of the other gifts that God has for you, God in him or herself or whatever. Let's not get caught up in gender when it comes to God, it's so silly. God self is the absolute, without comparison, biggest gift of all. Your connection with God is God's biggest gift to you. And as I said, it starts from the eternity perspective. It also starts from the present moment. Again, a paradox. You live in an eternity perspective, but you get access to this perspective, to this infinity, right here, right now, by not living in the past and not living in the future and not allowing yourself to be defined by the past. You may still have goals, But if your life is just an endless pursuit of goals, that is all life will ever be for you. So make sure that to the best of your ability, infuse your here and now and your actions in the here and now with divinity. Make sure that to the best of your ability, see the sacredness in the present moment and truly enjoy the present moment. This is something that you have to train yourself into because there is a lot of faulty programming here. But, and this is something that I'm actually taking from Alan Watts, you only have to choose the present moment 1 second at a time. And the more you do, the easier it will get. And I think that's it for today. If you like the video, leave a like, leave a comment and share the video on social media and other places. And if you haven't done it already, subscribe to the channel. And I would strongly recommend, if you want more like educational stuff about your spiritual awakening, to check out my and my wife's other channel. I know I use a lot of AI in it, but I just want to communicate what I have learned throughout this journey. So check it out. It's called Internet Mystic Database, and you will find links to it in the description and in the comment section. And other than that, just sincerely thank you for your time.